don't want to grow up right away after graduating college? Well, you go to an event called midget wrestling, and I assure you, I had to be specific about this because you have to be able to search these groups up, because I want to give them good PR, because it was an event that was well worth it. It was a slow summer, and my friend called me up, and he told me about this, and I was like, you can't be serious. Like, is this a real thing? Seems a little bit degrading. Like, really? And it's a paid event? And he's like, yeah, this is going to be better than anything we did in college. And I know he kept talking it up for a while, and so I decided to go with. And I got ready for this trip up north, because he was still living way up in Mundelein, Arlington Heights, northern suburbs. And so I got ready to pack my car. It's going to be an hour-and-a-half trip. I knew I'd be there for a day or two. And as a young person would, all I brought with me was the clothes I was wearing. That's how you get ready for these sorts of trips. So I hopped in my car, and I got ready to drive up there. It was just 55 to 355. Simple directions for a young person like me. And I popped on Pandora. It was a nice little trip up there. And I got to his house, nice subdivision, decent houses. And I think his mom was making us some food when we got there. And she asked us, well, what are you boys up to tonight? Or like, we're just going to the bar, no big deal, nothing special. And we were waiting for another one of our college buddies to show up. So I think we played a game called Munchkin, I want to say, to kill the time. It's a card game. I could explain it more, but you can ask me about it afterwards. So I was at Greg's house, and we were waiting for our other college friend, who also happened to be named Greg. We'll just call him Greg number 2 from now on. Once Greg number 2 got to Greg's house, we were ready to go off on this adventure. I had no idea what to expect. And we went to the bar, and it was the largest bar in the Mundelein, Libertyville area. It's called Home Bar. Don't know if you've ever been there. But walking into this place, it has 2 rooms. The giant front room with a giant island bar and a room off to the side. And then there's a whole back room that's also giant, has another bar, and it even has a stage in the back. I guess they hire cover bands. And tonight, they had a wrestling arena set up in the middle of this back room. So we paid the bouncers, we gave them some cash, they stamped us, and we were good for the whole night. And I remember, somehow I ended up being the only person watching this. Greg number 2 went to the bathroom, and that was like the last I saw of him the whole night. When I went to go use the bathroom at some point, after having a couple of beers, I see him chatting up. There was a bathroom attendant. The bathroom attendant also happened to be named Greg. And they really hit it off, Greg number 2 and bathroom Greg. Greg number 1, I think he was trying to get more of his high school friends to come, and he found some other people to chat with. And so there I was, just sitting by myself, in a crowd full of people. And at this point, I was still young and anxious, and I just didn't like being in crowds by myself. So I was pounding back some beers. And here we were, for wrestling. They had an announcer. All right, get ready. We got Meatball coming up to the stage. I can't believe that we probably paid like $10, and this is top-notch quality. The wrestlers were climbing up on the post and body slamming each other. They got chairs and were smacking each other. And they looked like they were having a great time. And I was blown away. But as the night progressed, finally it ended. And of course, we weren't done for the night, so we went to the front room to have a couple more drinks and socialize. But myself and Greg number 2 probably got a little bit too rowdy, so Greg number 1 had his friend Kruger pick us up. And Greg number 2 and I and Kruger went back to Greg's house. Greg number 1 stayed behind with the bachelorette party, and I believe they were going on a trip to Denny's. So Kruger, he was really irritated at me on the way back. I remember that much. And they dropped us off at Greg's house. He opened the garage door, and they just left us there. And then I blacked out because I had too much to drink. Now, as I was sleeping, I kind of remember walking through the woods, going, Greg, Greg. I can only piece together that maybe I was trying to find Greg number 1. The next morning, I wake in the back seat of a car. Except it was not my car. I was terrified. I get up. I look around. There are other cars around. This didn't look like a parking lot. I assumed it was some sort of car lot, which begs the question, like, how was I able to get in this car? And I quickly, frantically looked in my pockets, and I still had my wallet and phone. Thank God. And my phone still had a charge. Wow, a blessing in disguise. So I pulled up in Google Maps, I turned on the GPS to see where I was, and I still didn't have a clue at all. I called up Greg number 1 right away, and he tells me, yeah, Greg number 2 slept in his car. So when I went to go look in your car, I didn't see you sleeping in there. We were really worried. I was like, great. Nobody went looking for me. So he came and picked us up from this car lot, and we go back to his house. And I decided to check over my belongings a bit more, and I open my wallet, and my driver's license is missing. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. We go back to the car lot. It's not in that car. So we decide last option is to call the bar. So we waited until they opened, and we called the bar, and they had my license with a note. So off we went back to Home Bar. And we got there, and they gave me back my license right away. And the note said, please give this man and his friends a free drink. We thought he was stealing food last night, so we took his license. And so at 9 in the morning, my 3 friends and I had an Irish car bomb. And as we were leaving, Greg number 1 told me, yeah, they had a table of food out, separate from the bars. And I'm pretty sure I saw you eating pizza, so most likely you did steal some food. So the moral of the story is drinking is bad. Thank you.